chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And our friend Sam Sulek continues to ascend. It looks like he's got a new, decked-out home gym, and he no longer has to trudge through Planet Fitness. So let's see how Sam put that YouTube money to use, and I will give my insights as well for those of you who are looking to start or expand your home gym, no matter the size. I have been in the home gym game. I'm really not at the moment, but I was for a number of years. Whether you've got a little space or a lot, there are some key ways that you can maximize your space. And one thing I did forget to mention, with all the tariff stuff happening, buy now. Now. Don't wait. The prices are only going to go up. So I will link my Amazon store in the pinned comment. You can find all kinds of categories for home gym equipment there. And I have used many of those things myself, and I can vouch for them. And I also have used equipment from Major Fitness. I will link some of their stuff down below too. I have specifically used their adjustable bench. It is excellent, as well as their B52. It is a squat rack combined with a Smith machine, as well as pull-up handles and 2 cables. So we'll talk about this as we go along, but I've got what you need if you're trying to get into this seriously.
Who would have thunk it, right? We got this place freaking stocked up. And this might seem like an overnight kind of whatever, as though this has just spawned in. Not exactly. This has been quite a while in the making.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, some of these machines he's got in here, I can just tell by looking even in the background. He probably ordered these months ago. Like, some of these really specific machines, it could take almost a year to get them into a given gym. No, I don't know exactly what the context of the building is. I don't know if this is some sort of storage unit, but I would understand if it was a storage unit. If you got a really big sized one, this would be the perfect way to use it.
I've still got to order a few other handles. Right, all I've got now is a couple D handles, pull down bar, V bar, because I'm going to do, I've got back later tonight.
All right, so first thing we see here, he's got the full setup with the dual pulley and the lat pull down, and it looks like a seated row attached to it. You're probably not going to have space for that in your home gym, but I'd say the closest parallel would be a plate-loaded pull down like this. Oftentimes, you can get these with a pull-up bar attached as well, and a low pulley if you want to do seated rows. Okay, just judging off of the distance, this looks like an Arsenal strength row machine. I have been to a gym with one of these. It's got all kinds of grips you can use.
Usually we're all used to like a hammer strength row, where it's the same thing. Chest pad, seat, but you're pulling like this, right? You're pulling kind of, like the point of rotation isn't up here, it's down here. So even though it's like a row for upper back, it kind of turns into a lat movement, because at the bottom you might be pulling upward, but at the top you start to rotate. I feel like you're pulling down.
Well, that also depends on how you adjust the seat, and you can also have more movement freedom if you go one arm at a time. You can sort of adjust your posture.
I'm almost getting a good lat stretch down here, but as I finish the rep, it's like I'm pulling up, kind of into more of a shrug.
Oh, this is getting science-based.
Isolateral pull down over here. And the plate is freaking heavy.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, okay, you can just see, Sam is, I believe, 6 feet tall. You can see the height of the handles on this machine. I've used one of these as well. Dude, getting into position for this machine, like, once you get strong enough, he might encounter this problem himself, and he's a very strong guy, so maybe it won't affect him as badly. But just getting up to the handles and then lowering down, you may not be able to even do that, or you may have to do one side at a time and use your other arm to pull yourself down, because this thing will just yank you up over and over.
And then with this pull down, same thing, since it's kind of pivoting around, you get that lat stretch at the top. But with a regular pull down, it's like this, right? Just pulling straight down. But here it's a little more kind of rounded. So I'm getting like real deep kind of lats. Like if you're thinking Christmas tree, I'm feeling this part where it really like digs in. And if you really start squeezing that, I think it will make noticeable gains Christmas tree wise. Like you can get the same effect with like a light dumbbell row, because instead of pulling like up here sort of mid trap, if you just drive your elbow back I swear that's all I'm feeling.
Okay, he's referring to the lower lat, essentially. Now, what really hits that as well is fanning out type of motions. So whether you do that with a horizontal or a vertical pull, if you really get your arms out away from you, so that can be either overhead, making like a V shape, or if you're doing horizontal, you can like kind of stretch around. So that was a very rough biomechanics explanation. I'm sure people in the comments will be correcting this with giant paragraphs, and they'll probably just ask AI. You know, that's what people do online now. They ask Grok, or they ask ChatGPT everything. People couldn't think for themselves before, but especially now. This is bad, bro.
Like I was saying before, kind of a top-down, kind of single-loaded one. But I'm not sure how the strength curve on this one will compare to what I'm used to. One of the old gyms I was going to at school, I'd have some heavy sets on a hammer strength row where I'd put 7 on it.
Closest I think I've had to a hammer strength row in terms of that, I've loaded 5 plates aside, and I ran out of room. Like 545, so there was nothing else I could put on it, and I was doing reps relatively easily. So you get to a point when you get pretty advanced with your training. Certain general gym machines, like these Arsenal ones, and I'm sure there's other brands here too, they will have much longer handles to load plates onto, and the handles will be heavier to begin with. But general gym machines, I mean, you can start to max them out. Which, by the way, be sure to get a gym pin if you don't have one. I don't use the name brand one currently. I use this one I found on Amazon. I put it on the screen. It's like 20 or 30 bucks. But you can pop this into any general weight stack and then load on plates. And it can hold a good amount of weight.
Once I get a few rounds of lifts in, all these machines are going to have weights as what I kind of start with. Because, I mean, there's no rule that I have to unrack everything in here.
That's an interesting point he makes. The question is he going to have enough plates to essentially have on all these machines so he can just kind of walk in and start? That's going to be a lot of plates because he's a strong dude. But the rest of you, put your freaking weights back.
And this one, same thing. I mean, honestly, most of these pieces, they're all very efficient weight-wise. Because the handle's here, and the weights are way over there, right? So I don't actually feel the force of like one plate.
Just rowing these handles on their own without any weights added on this machine probably would be difficult for a late novice to early intermediate if they got like a full stretch and really controlled it without their back like jerking off the pad. I mean, if you add a couple plates onto this, that's very difficult.
There's videos of Nick Walker doing this with 25s. And then this is where I'm really spoiled.
Looks like a pullover.
So this is something I've been missing out on. Like I like the cable pullovers, you know, one arm, light squeezing, but it's really not the exact same as a whole kind of setup.
I've done, like he just mentioned, the cable pullover with one arm at a time or both. I've done the dumbbell version. I've done the easy bar. Nothing can replicate, in my estimation, a machine like this in terms of just overall sturdiness. You get to just sit down. Sometimes these things have seat belts too.
Plus, it's got the seat belt.
So you can really keep your ass down into the pad because you can start to pop off of it as this gets heavier and heavier. I've done that myself. I've added weight, and then I realize I'm leaving the pad every time I do a rep, and I've dropped the weight and then gradually worked up again. But the pullover is interesting. You know, there's always a controversy online, like, does the pullover actually work the lats? And a lot of people say, no, it doesn't. Other people will say, when I feel it in my lats, bro. It's a very unique motion for the upper chest because there's really no other exercise in which you get that exact type of motion. It looks like a very small seat. It almost looks like one of those pads on a bicycle.
Almost skip the cable part. But these are pretty basic.
I mean, basic.
Regular pull down, seated row. But most interestingly about this whole stack.
Now, in terms of a pulley system, the cheaper route is going to be buy one that you can throw over, something like a pull-up bar. The main problem with these is that they tend to sway back and forth depending on the exercise and how heavy it is. So I would not put this too close to a wall or to a mirror. But a lot of squat racks now also include cable pulleys attached to them for not a whole lot more money. We'll talk about those more coming up. But the one on the screen here, I can recommend this. If you're going to want to use cables in any regular capacity, your best bet in terms of cost effectiveness and ease of use and also saving space, I would get them attached to whatever squat rack or squat cage that you buy. Okay, something to note with these type of stacks, because people often ask like, bro, how come I can only do this much at one gym, this much at another gym? In pretty much all cases, when you see a stack like this with one single pulley and it has a twin on the other side, the weight you see, like say it says 90 pounds here, that's going to be the combined weight for both sides. So when it says 90, it's actually 45 pounds on each side, and that adds up to 90. Whereas if you see 90 pounds on this one, because it's built for only the row, it is just 90 pounds.
So dumbbells, 5 to 150s.
Okay, one quick note with the dumbbells. Of course, you can go for something like Bowflex, and if you have the money for those, I'd say those are ideal. That said, oftentimes they do not go up very heavy. I've seen some Bowflex go up to 100 pounds. Those are going to be a pretty penny, though. I think the most cost-effective option is going to be dumbbell handles. So you can load these up. I would get a lot of 25s and 10s, and of course 5s and 2.5s for your home gym. So it may take some time, but these handles, you can load these up, and you're using plates that you already have, and the handles are not very expensive themselves. Just make sure you get solid collars on them, and these work like a charm. So do not rely on these cheap spring ones that may be included. Buy heavy-duty collars, such as Lockjaw. Once again, I'll link all of this down below, but do not skimp out. You may drop some heavy plates on your face. That's not going to be fun.
I'm a little torn here. I was kind of considering going up to 200. The 200s would not get use, maybe ever.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty limited use-wise. Now, something else to notice, too, with these dumbbells, it looks like they go up in 5-pound increments. You can get these, like I have as well. These are micro plates, not the kind you put on a barbell. You can also get those as well, which I would recommend. But you can get these plates that you clip on to the handles of these dumbbells, so you can effectively increase by 2.5 pounds, not only 5. And I've been using these a lot recently, and they are fantastic because once you get advanced, adding +5, especially per arm, or per leg or whatever it's going to be, can become very difficult. This makes it much smoother.
That's Ronnie Coleman territory.
Yeah, buddy! Wait!
Yeah, we got 2 Ronnie appearances already.
A little bit of an extension, maybe into some kind of, not like the Gold's Gym massive 300-pound dumbbells. That'd just be silly. But maybe just a couple of extra spots for the real heavy ones. Now, the urethanes are cool because they're going to bounce around a little more, not rip everything up. But these things are freaking huge.
Okay, notice too, it looks like he's got stall mats underneath where the dumbbells are going to be, which is smart because even if they're not being dropped on the ground, they always can be. And in general, lifting heavy anywhere, you want to have heavy-duty flooring, not just crappy foam puzzle pieces. Let alone some people in their home gym, they will lift on carpet, and then the carpet will gradually get very dirty, and you can put big dents in it. Hardwood is manageable if you're always lifting extremely light, but that's going to scuff very oftentimes. It's going to be easier to damage. If you guys are assembling a home gym, get horse stall mats, okay? Do not skimp out on these cheap things. They're not going to serve you well. Oftentimes, too, if there's any room at all for them to move, they will slip and slide on the floor. You could really hurt yourself. They also will make indents. Spend the money, get horse stall mats. I will link some on Amazon down below. You can also go to your local Tractor Supply Company or Home Depot. They usually have them there too. But you need to get heavy-duty flooring if you want to actually lift hard and heavy in your home gym. You're going to pay the price if you don't, I promise you. For reference, I got this mat for my old home gym. I lifted on hardwood for almost 2 years. I dropped heavy deadlifts on this every single week. When I finally moved out, the floor was perfect. No damage at all.
Moving on to the pec deck. Reasonably basic.
I mean, basic.
Okay, Ronnie's just all over this video now.
But this, compared to most other pec decks, actually is a bit of a boost. Because these little pivoting points are actually a little behind my shoulders. Usually, these little bearings and stuff are like 6 inches forward. So if they're a little in front of my shoulders, it wants to pull me in, right? It's forcing me to use some front delt. It's trash. But since these are a little further back, my shoulders don't feel like they want to move forward. They almost feel like they're being pushed back. So when I'm in a fully squeezed position, I'm kind of getting a little inward pressure as well.
What a lot of that comes down to is your torso angle. You can see here he is sitting pretty upright. If you want to hit your chest as much as you possibly can which is already a lot on something like this, but to really maximize it, you want to have a vertical angle in your torso. So basically your chest over your sternum, over your belly button, you want to be up and down. I used to do this myself, and I see a lot of people still do it. They will create a self-imposed angle. I talk about this in a previous video, but that is a real phenomenon. I've experienced that myself. I go to a gym that has this exact type of pec deck. I know what he means. If you've never used it, it's hard to really describe, but it is very good.
Like a side lateral too?
He said side lateral. So redundant. Look at Sam. He's got the logo on his equipment.
Ooh, whoops. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm a little torn.
Is that a dehumidifier? Air purifier?
Because even though I got the big ass speaker,
That's a speaker? Oh my god. Oh yeah, it says JBL. Jesus Christ, that thing is enormous.
flat press, well, similar like angle as that one over there, but this one differs because these handles can kind of move in and out. So I can have kind of a wider sort of something or other, or a little bit more narrow.
That is very nice to have on a chest press machine.
Incline converging press, and the converging part is really what I'm aiming for.
I love the old school York plates. I think Sam has mentioned this in the past too. The sound of the iron hitting against itself, it's just one of the best sounds ever. You cannot replicate it. Especially typical gyms, they have the urethane coated plates. And I know they do that because they want to protect their flooring, but it's just not the same. You oftentimes hear that the converging press, or any type of converging press, is the best for your chest, because you get that motion and you basically hit as much of the pecs as you possibly can. Like, the more you squeeze in at the end, the more your chest is hit as much as it possibly can be. And you see oftentimes that incline chest machines get criticized, especially a typical hammer strength one, whenever you press kind of up like this. And oftentimes you'll see it said that, oh, that actually hits your triceps more, given the path of the weight, which I understand. So the converging makes sense. In terms of a home gym piece that fits this, I've also used this myself, and I have one. It's from GMWD. They sent me one of these last year to try out, and I can vouch for it. I really like it. I'll link this down below too. But this has converging handles, and is pretty sturdy, and for the price point, it's going to do what you need it to do.
But the fact that as you press up, these handles get closer, it kind of adds a little bit of...
See, this is funny, because he's like me. He's trying to come up with the words to use. Sam, I don't believe he's like a big biomechanics, physiology guy. I know all these teenagers on TikTok and Instagram now, they parrot whatever they hear other people say, and they talk like a science textbook every time they make a reel. And also, too, you know, talking to the general public, even if they hear these big words, they assume people are really smart. Not necessarily.
But when it's converging, it almost gets just nastier at the inside.
I like the way he's describing this. Nastier. He's such a bro.
And then the flat press, same thing, different angle, slightly different kind of strength curve, but this is a bit more flat.
Yes, we can see that, Sam.
Then we've got the incline bench. But if it's just me in here, this isn't really an awesome setup, because I've got no interest in recreating the throwing the 315 over my knees kind of clip.
Have you ever seen that clip of him? He fails a 315 incline, and he straight up tosses it. I mean, he's sitting down. He barely has any momentum. He throws it over his legs. It was ridiculous.
Unless I've got a spotter, what I really need to do is get like some squat blocks, like the stuff the Olympic lifters use. Basically bring it to like the perfect height on both of these sides, where if I have to drop it, it's not going to crush me.
Even dumping the weight on an incline, not easy to do if you fail it. And you can even see there are multiple rungs on this one. And if you try to get there and you just miss like a lot of people do, it's going to land on you.
But yeah, this will kind of be in front of the mirror too. Every so often I get a little like angle to my barbell bench. Like I think my right arm stays a little lower and my left arm kind of takes over, go a little crooked. So being able to look at yourself while I'm doing it, that'll be freaking sweet.
Well, in theory, yeah, but correcting an imbalance, especially lifting heavy in real time, even looking at the mirror, you're not going to do it.
Moving on to the squat rack, plus a little kind of laser cut customization on the top.
Neutral grip, well, multi-grip pull-up bar. We got normal across, we got angle, then we got neutral. Many holes for the adjustment of the bar. This thing is nice. So in terms of the highest rated squat rack on Amazon, it's going to be some variation of this from Fitness Reality. Now they've got a number of options here. The first one is standard. Right now it's about $300. That's a very good price point. There is a pull-up bar attached over top with neutral grip as well. They also have this one that is $400, which includes an entire lat pull-down attached to the squat cage. For the price point, and given that it condenses these two things, that is not a bad deal at all. And then they also have this one, which has the pulley attachments to cables on top, and you can adjust these up and down too. So, depending on your budget and other things you have, you can make this decision for yourself. You see their safety arms here? I would assume Sam is smart enough to use these at the appropriate height when he does use the squat rack. I still see on social media all the time people have squat racks, they have safety arms, and then they will unrack the bar and walk outside of the confines of the safety arms. It's truly Darwinism in action. It's one of the most fascinating things to watch people just neglect the safety protocols right in front of their faces over and over.
And I've got 5, I don't know how many plates waiting for me. There's a certain excitement. And I don't want to say anxiety, but maybe nervousness is a little better. Because before even playing any music at all, it's like,
I don't know what the hell that was, Sam, but absolutely, when you're about to lift heavy, especially with free weights, squats, deadlifts, you have to mentally enter a different zone to do that effectively.
Right next to the rack, Smith machine. I might not pick a Smith if I go to a certain gym if it's angled.
Interesting point he makes there. Now, keep in mind, as I said, the Spirit B52 from Major Fitness has a Smith machine built in to a general squat rack, so you can consolidate both of these at one time. But this one is from Arsenal. I believe this bar is 55 pounds. This one is very heavy. And this one is straight up and down. Depending on what you want to use the Smith machine for, an angle's not bad, necessarily. If you want to get a more so-called natural angle for an incline bench or a general bench press, even for an overhead press, an angle going like this is actually good. Now, that said, when it comes to things like squats and Romanian deadlifts, etc., that does become annoying.
Because it lets me rack it forward. You're very strong to roll this thing forward. I've had I wasn't recording it, but I was at a Planet Fitness, and I go to re-rack it, and I didn't actually engage the clip. So anybody else watching, it really just looked like I threw 4 plates off me and let it slam to the ground.
Some Smith machines, man, especially if they're older, and even ones like this if they're heavier, it is not easy in the moment to just do this, especially if you're very fatigued after a hard set. It's easy to miss it. And I've had this happen too, where I was doing a good morning on a Smith machine. It was this exact type of Smith machine, actually. And I finished my set, and I went to throw it back, and I missed the latch. And thankfully, I had the safety... They're not safety arms on a Smith machine, they're safety pins. I don't know if you can see them here, maybe right at the bottom here. But you can adjust those up to a given height. Some people think that the Smith machine's automatically safer than barbells. Not automatically. In principle, yes, but you also can adjust safeties on the Smith machine too. A lot of people do not know that. Make sure you do that yourself. Thankfully, I had those set up pretty high, because if I would have missed that and not had those set there, it probably would have crushed me. I could have really gotten hurt when that happened.
And same logic, right? If I pull it back here, this is a much more natural hand position, because the weight is actually sunk into my hands.
Right. I see a lot of people use the Smith machine for presses, and their hands are over like this. And especially if they're pressing outward, it's a disaster.
This is a bit more of a freakier kind of feeling. This is where you might see a thumb slip out. Not ideal.
This is an interesting video because he's bringing up these things. A lot of general lifters that do watch him, they would never think of this type of stuff.
One more aspect here. These safeties.
Bravo, Sam.
Will be utilized. So I'll want to set these just about as close to the bottom of my range of motion as possible. And then side lateral machine.
It's not side lateral, bro. It's just lateral.
I'm sure this will be, at least this and the dumbbells, will be my primary kind of shoulder movements. Plus pec deck for rear delts. And then legs.
Boo!
Not complete just yet. Still waiting on a couple of things. Plus some cardio equipment over in that wall.
Boo!
Laying hamstring curl. Seated leg extension.
Classics.
And then donkey kind of calf raise. Because when you're seated, some part of your calf just isn't getting as much activation. So if I've been doing a ton of seated calf raises, like for as long as I've been lifting, I think changing it up with some of this straighter leg, plus I can really try to load this thing up, that'll probably be good for me.
He is correct. So when you do a seated calf raise, it does not work the full musculature of the calf, like when you have your legs totally straight. Off the top of my head, I think Sam's got relatively big calves genetically. Now, someone like me, I've got complete deer bones, and I've been training my calves at least twice a week, almost every week for a while now. There's an old trope that you can never grow your calves. You can. That does not mean they're going to actually really look that good, depending on your genetics, especially if they insert very high. You can improve them as much as you can, but in terms of bodybuilding, I don't think anybody's won or lost a show based on calves. And for general gym bros, wear long socks or pants, nobody gives a shit.
This will be replaced with a hip press.
The hip press is a great leg machine. It essentially is a horizontal leg press. My favorite type of leg press by far. It looks like he's got a hack squat here too. Now also, I'll link below, there is a machine for home gyms that consolidates a hack squat and a leg press, and you can adjust it to become either or. In terms of overall leg machines, well, I guess for the quads really, that's the best you're going to get for a home gym. You also can find leg extensions that turn into hamstring curls. You can get a lot done with really only 2 machines, assuming they can consolidate when it comes to the leg training at home now.
On none of these, if it's just me, do I ever want a situation where I got a bunch of weight, I can't re-rack it, and it's going to come down on me. So the same thing here. This big ass freaking leg press has these safety pins.
I gotta say, man, I really like his focus on safety. Dude, the amount of lifters, even, very popular, or even ones that coach and train people, I see clips of this. I mean, I post these reels on Instagram all the time. I've made videos about this too. The amount of people that teach and instruct others that do not know or follow basic safety parameters with equipment, it's shocking.
If the rep can't get all the way back up to either this top pin or the second one, I can still, I guess not pin myself.
Well, you do that a lot, don't you, Sam?
Honestly, with a couple of these where my feet are on these pads, I might get some skateboard grip tape and kind of put 2 tracks down just for some extra traction.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
But that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm sure some of these machines will get swapped with the others if I want to maybe see myself in the mirror with this press versus this one.
I can only imagine trying to move these things around. That cannot be fun.
I also want to make this kind of like a hub. Not like, not having I just mean bringing a bunch of characters out from, all over the woodworks. Because how long's it been? It's been like almost 2.5 years of just straight Sam lifts.
Right here, bro.
I think we should dabble out and get a couple characters out here.
If we have to guess a total cost, because I'm sure people are asking about that. Okay, let me do some quick math off the top of my head here. Okay, it looks like he didn't even talk about these. We have a number of benches. We got an incline bench, adjustable. We got a flat bench, a seat, another flat bench down here. He said there's other pieces coming too. This is probably well over $100,000. Would not surprise me, or very close to it. By the time he adds a few more pieces to it, it'll definitely be over that point. And on top of as well, I don't know what it costs to buy or rent this space itself. That's not going to be cheap either. Yeah, he's rolling in it. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Check out the links down below to get started or expand your home gym. Check out my training programs and my nutrition guide. Stop wasting your time in the gym and in the kitchen. And if you want to get in direct contact with me or apply for coaching, those links will be in the description box as well. And I will catch you guys next time.